I'm Joe Khalil here in Washington. After a marathon session, the Senate finally votes on that American Rescue Plan, the COVID relief bill. We're going to tell you what's in it and when you can expect to see benefits from it.
Right now on News Nation Prime, the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill is one step away from passing in Congress. It is our top story tonight. I am Aaron Nolan. And I'm Rudabeh Shabazi. Senators worked through the night. Now the revised bill is headed back to the House for a final vote. News Nation Washington, D.C. correspondent Joe Khalil has the latest.
Rudabeh, after a marathon session that lasted more than 24 hours, the Senate finally voted to pass President Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package, the American Rescue Plan, and it fell right along party lines. No Republicans voted for it. Now, there were a couple of significant changes in this Senate version than what we saw in the House's version. The $15 minimum wage increase was the first thing to go. And yesterday, an internal clash among Democrats ultimately led to a scaled-back extended unemployment benefit to $300 a week, a deal that appeased the more moderate senators. Those jobless benefits are going to be paid out through the summer. Now, the main thrust of the bill is the same. $1,400 stimulus checks to Americans who are making less than $75,000 a year, $14 billion for vaccine distribution, and $350 billion for state and local governments, among a lot of other measures. Now, Republicans went home after this all-nighter, but Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer stayed and addressed reporters a little while after the vote.
We had to pass this legislation. We made a promise to the American people that we were going to deliver the real relief they needed, and now we have fulfilled that promise.
Now, there is a bit of concern among some Democrats that the new bill, as it makes its way to the House, may find some trouble with some of the more progressive members. But today, President Biden addressed that specifically, saying he thinks they're going to be okay with it.
As Bernie Sanders said, this is the most progressive bill he's ever seen pass in history since he's been here. And the compromises were all compromises that didn't affect the substance and the essence of what the bill is.
Clearly, Democrats want to move on this bill sooner than later. In fact, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said they're going to take this bill up in the House on Tuesday, and they're obviously hoping to keep all of their Democratic caucus united in support of the bill. Now, there is sort of a deadline here. In a little over a week, some of the benefits from the previous stimulus package, like the unemployment benefits, are going to run out. So Democrats are trying to sort of hit that deadline and make sure that they can pass this bill and get it to President Biden's desk before that happens. In Washington, Joe Khalil, News Nation.
Joe, thanks. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget broke down the bill, finding that 1% of the $1.9 trillion goes towards vaccines. Another 5% covers public health measures directly tied to the pandemic. And it found more than 15% of the package, roughly $300 billion, will be spent on long-standing policy priorities, including pension bailouts, Affordable Care Act subsidies, and income tax credits. The committee now is a nonprofit made up of bipartisan leadership, including previous heads of the House and Senate budget committees.
News Nation correspondent Michael Schur joins us live now to talk about the impact this funding could have nationwide. Michael.
That's exactly right, Rudabeh. You look at this and you have a divided country. You saw it in the election. You saw it in the House. I mean, this was somewhat bipartisan coming out of the House, and then in the Senate, it was along partisan lines, not a single Republican voting. You saw 50-49. That's because Alaska Republican Dan Sullivan had to go home because of the death of a father-in-law. So he went back to Alaska, which meant that Kamala Harris, the vice president, could sleep a little better. Her vote there was not needed to break a tie. But let's look at what the real world impact of some of these, some of what we saw last night is. You're going to be looking at this going back to the House. That's going to take a little bit of time. And when it takes time, that means it's going to be a little while before people get their checks. The date that Joe Khalil was talking about is March 14th. That's when unemployment benefits expire as of the last COVID relief bill. So the president wants to make sure that that gets done by the 14th, which is next Sunday. And if it does get done by then you can look sort of at the past track record. Last April of 2020, when the first COVID relief CARES Act monies went out, took about 2 weeks for that to get going. This January, when they sent out further $600 checks to Americans, that took about a week. But you have to remember, we're in the middle now also of tax time. So the IRS, for lack of a better way of putting it, is extra taxed at this point with work that they need to do. Americans want these checks. My guess is they would go out by the end of March, and people would start getting them by the end of March, beginning of April. Rudabeh?
All right, so we also know this bill includes the stimulus checks. You mentioned this, unemployment aid and a child allowance. So is that the same time frame that people can see these benefits?
Yeah, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at making sure that these monies get out as quickly as possible. One of the things you're going to have to look at, too, is over the next several days when the House gets this back. They say they'll begin debating it on Tuesday in the House. Once those debates happen, you're also going to start seeing some members of Congress ask for timelines for this money so that there can be no delays, committee delays, write-ups to it. So if it does have to go to reconciliation, that would be part of the bill. But at this point, they're going to try and get that money out to Americans as quickly as possible.
And there's also $14 billion in the package for vaccine distribution. What impact is that money going to have on the push to reach herd immunity in the United States?
Yeah, it's really important to look at those dollars because those dollars are meant to make sure that there is a national free vaccination program for every resident of the United States. Now, that does not mean every citizen. So what that money is earmarked for is to make sure that not just U.S. citizens, but also people who are not here legally, perhaps, can get those vaccinations because herd immunity cannot happen unless everyone in the herd is vaccinated, Rudabeh.
And Michael, last question for you. There's another $350 billion for state and local governments. So what are you hearing from elected leaders about the importance of the funding and how it will be used at that level?
Yeah, one thing that happened today is that number went to over $360 billion. Charles Schumer, the majority leader of the Senate, adding a $10 billion rider, an amendment there for federal workers, federal contractors there that brought that up to $360 billion. And that money is the money that is maybe not the most fascinating part of this bill, but it's so important. I was actually just in Kansas City this week. We're going to have a story on News Nation on Tuesday about the impact of that money. I spoke with the mayor, Quentin Lucas, in Kansas City. They have a $70 million shortfall in Kansas City for their budget. This money was essential, and it would have kept a lot of people out of work had this money not gone to the states and local governments. And that money is the money that was the most contentious on the parts of some Republicans, that they thought that they should be punishing states and cities that didn't manage it well. Democrats saying that this money was absolutely needed. My takeaway from it, after speaking to Mayor Lucas and other mayors who are telling me that this is money that is not about saving cities, but this is money about stopping the bleeding. And again, we'll look into that Tuesday night on News Nation. Rudabeh.
Michael Shore, thank you for breaking it down for us.